Hi, I'm Dawn and this is where Shabby meets Bling. This is going to be my very last Halloween project for the year, which kind of makes me sad. But on the upswing, it is going to be quick, it is going to be easy, and it's going to be very, very, very inexpensive. Let's get started. I'm in the produce section of my local grocery store, and there you see some beautiful apples, some not so beautiful. But underneath those apples are those pressed cardboard pieces that lay in the bottom underneath all of our fruit as it's shipped to us, to our grocery stores, to protect it. They even have plastic ones. But I am going to grab some of the cardboard ones, that pressed cardboard. I grabbed some of the smaller ones because they're going to fit more with what I want to make. And let's face it, you can go thrifting, but what's more thrifty than getting something for free? Go ahead and ask. Ask who's ever stocking in produce. Just say, excuse me, sir, may I have some of these cardboard thingies? And they're going to say, sure, take all you want. Well, I'm going to make some vintage style ornaments from these. I'm doing this for a reason. I'm using a paintbrush, the end of a paintbrush, and I am basically burnishing a design in this cardboard. It is pressed cardboard and it's thin. Not so thin you're going to rip right through it, but it's thin. And I am sculpting a little face in it. You'll notice I have a towel underneath to tuck into the part that's curved so I don't totally mash it. But if you don't have sculpting tools, you can use any item that you can hold like a pen or a paintbrush or a sculpting tool and has a small rounded tip. You should be seeing a face appear, and this is the face of a jack-o'-lantern. I will be making others, but my first ornament will be this cute little jack-o'-lantern. And now I'm going to paint his little features. I'm going to paint his little features. I'm going to be using a black matte. It's from Plaid. It's an apple barrel acrylic. And I later try this a different way of painting the surrounding part of the ornament first. But I think this was my best bet. I am just filling in his nose and his eyes, as well mouth, with this black paint. And I'm telling you, this is a great project for kids. You can have them use a duller scissor, or you can cut out the little form yourself if you would like to as the adult. But this is a great project, inexpensive. If they go out of line, who cares? The materials are free. And that way, later on in life, when they get older, you can look back at these and say, look what you made. How cute is that? And that's the fun of doing things with your kids and your grandkids. While you're creating a keepsake, you're sharing a very special moment. Since my ornaments are going to be dimensional, they need a back to them. So I'm using the same little pressed cardboard cartons to make the backs. And just in case you see inside the little jack-o'-lantern, I am going to paint the inside pumpkin orange, Waverly chalk paint. And once my orange is dry, I will come back and paint a nice green color where the stem will be, because you're definitely going to see a little bit inside of that stem. So now that my inside of my little jack-o'-lantern is dry, I am going to glue the two pieces together. And I'm just using 3-in-1 glue to make this happen, and I'm gonna hold them in place until they dry. I found you can also, if you have some clamps that don't leave marks, you can also clamp them together and just let them sit for a few minutes and they'll adhere. Once we've got this little guy glued together properly where he's not going to slide around, I am going to trim him up to really make him look like a jack-o'-lantern, because right now he just kind of looks like a blob with the jacko face, and that can't be. So Mr. Jack-o'-lantern's coming to life with my little shears. And once again, the kids can use their little school scissors to make this happen. So it is very kid-friendly. After I trimmed him up, I painted the entire thing pumpkin orange around his little features and the back as well, because if you know me well enough, you know I like things to be done all around. I don't want there to be, just think about how horrible would this look if you saw that purple carton material on the back side of these. So you really got to treat it like it's one whole item, just like you'd buy in the store, you know. So I am painting the stem, that sage green, that really pretty sage green. And I did paint the inside of the stem that green. My paintbrush fits inside there, so there is a little gap, and I needed to make sure it wasn't that purple color. Once I get my first little jack-o'-lantern stem painted, then I take care of the second and the third, because I did make 3 jack-o'-lantern ornaments, and I'm going to be making 2 other little characters as well. But once I get the other 2 stems painted, I move on to their leaves, because each pumpkin is going to be sporting a little leaf. These are from Hobby Lobby. They're little paper leaves, and I'm going to be painting them front and back the same color, that pretty sage green. I will be coming back over this with something else as well, but for right now, all of the leaves, all 3 of them, and they're only getting 1 leaf apiece, are going to be this really pretty sage green. Can I say it again? Let's say it again. Really ridiculously pretty sage green. Right now, he looks like a Florida orange with a jack-o'-lantern face, and that will never do. So our little guy needs some ribs, some little pumpkin ribs, and I am using my truffle brown chalk paint to paint in little ribs. And I'm starting in the middle, and I am just going to paint down at a curve from the top to the bottom. And I won't go through his features, I will go up to and then below. So a little curve right to the tip of his eye, and then another little curve from eye to mouth. And I will darken them as much as I feel necessary. And I will add a couple more on the outsides of his little face, so that he really starts to look like a jack-o'-lantern. No more orange, even though I love oranges. Bye-bye, orange. Hello, jack-o'-lantern. Hey Jack, what's up? He really is starting to look more like a jack-o'-lantern. And once I get the front of his little face done, I will flip it over and I will do the back as well. Once again, these are ornaments. They're going to be hanging. I have this really cool tree that I'm going to be hanging these on, and it is very possible that someone's going to see the back side. So I treat everything in the round, front and back. Time for a new character. We're going to take another one of our little cutouts, but this time we're flipping it upside down, because this little guy is going to be a skeleton, a little Skelly. And I'm going to start with his nose, which is basically going to be a triangle. So I'm finding my center on top and on bottom, and I'm going to create his little nose. If you notice, this time I am using my sculpting tool. Once my nose is finished, I move on to his eyes, and these are going to be ovals, kind of a kitty wampus little mushed ovals, kind of like a fried egg. Think of that. If you have to get an image, go online, check out what a little Skelly looks like, and make your own little face. But mine are going to be just kind of like weird shaped little ovals. Then I move on to his mouth. When I get to his teeth, it's just gonna be straight lines, just straight lines down and then one across. Now his little features get painted, and this is the same process and the same paint I used on my jack-o'-lantern. And I am filling in his eyes, and I'm coming up a little above that ridge that I created, because these are all recessed areas. And I don't want there to be any purple left. So I'm making sure I come up just a little bit high on the ridge, because the white paint that I come back with will cover that up, and it'll give me a nice, crisp, clean line. So I get his little eyes painted, his little nose, and his little teeth. And then we turn to the rest of his little skull head. I am using my plaster chalk paint for his skull, his little skull head. And I'm being careful, not super careful, because I will come back and touch up any areas where I have encroached into the black. But I am just painting out all of the little areas that need to be white. And if you notice, I haven't trimmed this out yet. I haven't cut it out, because it gives you extra space to hang on to while you're painting. And once I get this completed, then we'll move on and make him one whole dimensional skull. Character number 3 is going to be kind of a reenactment of maybe a cross between Banks and Mr. Whiskers. It's going to be a little black cat. I will leave the links to those 2 videos in my description box so you can check them out. I create this character the exact same way I did the other 2, but remember I said I painted the exterior before the features in one project, and this is the one I did that, and it turned out okay, but then I turned around and did it a different way the second time. Here I am creating a little more dimension on his ears. You can see I already have the back of the ornament glued together, and I am just using one of my sculpting tools to burnish down the inside of his ear to create that recess, and I'm folding them over a little bit so he has much more dimension to his little ears. Next, I will finish painting him and then give him some real life whiskers. This is embroidery thread that I've treated, and this is what I will be using for his whiskers. To see how I treated and used my embroidery thread, I will put the links to these videos in the description box. I will cut them to the appropriate length, and then I am going to take my little form, and granted this is not one of my ornaments, but it's what the ornaments are made out of, so you can see how easy it will be to put the whiskers in. After I deal with Blue, who is giving me a hard time this morning, he thinks this is playtime. So I'm going to take my seam ripper. I'm going to take my seam ripper and poke it right inside my little cardboard mold, and then I will insert. You can see how easy this is. If you don't have someone bugging you, you insert it right in the hole. And to make it stay, I will be using 3-in-1 glue. And then I will create some hangers out of wire using a little pick to wrap it around. You can see I've had problems all day. And these will become little hangers for all of my ornaments. These 3 tiny bells will get rusted and look like these. And if you want to see how I naturally rust these bells, you can check out this video. I'll put the link in the description box. They will become accents for our little black cats. I will also be making some little bows out of strips of this old shirt. I will be hanging my ornaments on this tree, or one very similar to it, and I will be decorating that tree with strips of this creepy fabric in white, because it's going to resemble what you do at Halloween trick-or-treating if you don't get the candy. My projects are complete. Let's take a look. What began as pressed cardboard, fruit packing material, became these cute little ornaments seen here on our tree. And there's our little jack-o'-lantern, at least one of them. And there's our skeletons, our little scullies. So cute. Oh, and there's our kitty cat, our black kitty cat, loving the whiskers and that rusted bell. Just ever so cute with a little tiny bow from the shirt strips. The tree looks so cute, but we have to ask, who would have TP'd this adorable little tree? Oh no, it was Mr. Whiskers. When last we saw Mr. Whiskers, he was trick-or-treating and making out very well. I guess he came across a house that ran out of candy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, share it with your family and friends and anyone that likes Halloween decor, and anything just fun. You can follow me on Instagram, and don't forget to check out my shop on Etsy. Leave me a comment. I would absolutely love to hear from you. Ring the bell for notifications of all my upcoming videos. Subscribe, it's a great way to support my channel. But for now, this is Dawn with Shabby Meets Bling. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.